Hey guys, Josh here from Sportitude, and today it is shoe review time, and we're going to be doing it on the new Asics Gel Nimbus Lite version 2. I happen to be holding my pair in front of me. I've had these for around 3 months now, and let me tell you, there is a lot to like about this update. I was pretty surprised when it came through, and out of the box it does present quite differently in regards to its engineering features, being the outsole, the midsole and the upper. However, on the foot, performance-wise, I was really satisfied with what Asics had taken from version 1 and rolled over into version 2, so I was not let down at all. So in today's review, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be touching on the 3 engineering components of this shoe: the outsole, the midsole and the upper. We're going to cross it over compared to where the version 1 was and show you and talk about all the changes, profile the runner that should be considering this shoe, give you all the information you need at home to potentially decide on whether this might be your next high mileage shoe. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. So first thing first, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the runner that could be considering this shoe. So it is a neutral running shoe, like I've done in all my previous reviews. That essentially means there's no extra dynamic or fixed arch support on the medial side through there to assist for that overpronator through mid starts that happens to roll in over the arches. So technically a neutral foot would look something like this. So we've got a higher arch through this region through here. So a little bit of real estate between the arch and the ground through there, and or a underpronator. So for an underpronator, we're talking about that entry point to midpoint, which we tend to have almost like an external pitch through here. So a lateral pitch, the arch sits up and majority of the pressure is on the outside of the foot through there. However, there is the foot type out there that is relatively neutral and doesn't look too dissimilar to this as well. It has a slightly flatter arch, but when they come through mid-stance phase through their gait cycle, we don't tend to see too much of what we call tibial rotation. So they actually don't rotate too much through that mid-stance phase, which then puts medial pressure on that arch. So they stay pretty well pressured through the foot, and a lot of the pressure is through the central part of their foot through here. So with that being said, neutral to slightly underpronated or supinated foot type, we could be considering the Nimbus Lite version 2 there. Let's get talking about the engineering features of this shoe. So first things first, we'll start from the ground up and we'll talk all things outsole. So as I said in my intro, when I got this out of the box, I was really surprised with the changes and the dramatic changes to the naked eye which Asics had made. So if you even look at version 1 through here, so that's the men's through there, you can see the outsole, how it's set up, where the flex grooves are positioned, and even to the fact where the width through the midfoot, and compare it to what they have done and executed with version 2. So the outsole is completely different. So the biggest, I suppose, thing that stood out to me was the full ground contact, which it still is. However, full ground contact on the lateral side of the version 1, you can see the rubber that goes the whole way through on that lateral column through here. And then when you hold up version 2, now part of this being a little bit dirty, it is my shoe that I've been using, you can see it's got a little bit of a sort of a cutaway as such to that mid-stance phase through here, or for me, that entry point. Now, there is no rubber in that region through there, and you can see that essentially what I have found in my purchase point, I was a little bit concerned about maybe not having really good grab on that entry. However, I didn't notice it when I was running. You can see that I'm still wearing quite evenly, and this is after about 50 kilometers of running in this shoe. So I've done some Ks, and I would have thought if that was going to be a problem, there'd be some form of wear right now, and it doesn't seem to be the case. The actual rubber itself is holding up the foam itself is holding up quite well, probably due to the fact that this little pod, which is strategically placed where you would normally see a truss stick being through here. So that's actually protecting that lateral column of your outsole through there. So Asics have placed that rubber to give the shoe a bit of integrity, support, and obviously protect the asset being the midsole inside this shoe. So there is a little bit of harder wearing rubber through the outer column through here and the heel through there. So AHA rubber, which again, I sort of question that because it is designed at the back through here, and that's really targeting that heel striker. This shoe is designed for more of a midfoot runner, as Asics have said it themselves, but they've got to keep in mind that people are going to buy this shoe, and if a heel striker happens to buy this shoe and they're running and purchasing the ground with the first part of their heel, you still need to have some durable rubber at the back through here. So that's really important to strategically place that harder wearing rubber at the back of the shoe through there. As you come through to the forefoot, you can kind of see the subtle changes with the flex grooves. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flex grooves on offer through the forefoot. That provides a very nice flexible transition through the toe-off phase of your gait cycle in comparison to last year, which is not too dissimilar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. And almost the same, what I would classify as angle lateral to medial side. So although the actual materials have changed and the shape of the rubber has changed, the actual execution on angle and flex groove setup is the same. The only real change is through that midsection through here with regards to how they've set up that torsional region of the shoe. All right, let's move on to the midsole. So first things first, the stack height. We've got 25 millimeters in the heel and 15 millimeters in the forefoot in the men's for a heel to toe gradient of 10 mil. And in the ladies, we've got 27-14 for a variance of 13 mil through there. And that is exactly the same as version 1, both men's and women's. So they kept that nice and consistent from one season to the next, which is great. So you're not gonna lose a lot of runners that like that heel to toe drop inside version 1. The midsole itself is quite unique with regards to how it feels underneath the foot. So from my experience with version 1, what I did like about this shoe was essentially the softness. It felt incredibly soft underneath the foot. So not only from your first step in, but that first step in my first run inside this shoe, I knew I was going to be really satisfied with the level of cushioning on offer in the version 1. Now, if I have to be honest, when I got this on the foot and I stood in it, I wasn't disappointed because I know this is a high mileage shoe, but it didn't feel as soft as what this did in first step in. However, when I was running in the shoe, first entry point, that midfoot range for me, it felt plush, it felt soft, and it feels a little bit more responsive through that forefoot. Now, if I have to be honest as well, it kind of had 1080 version 10 vibes about it. Now, for those of you out there that have used the 1080 version 10, we know it was a very, very popular shoe through 2020. It got great reviews across the board globally, and essentially what I felt inside this running shoe was some similar vibes. I mean, the landing region and that slightly more responsive feel, and almost felt like a bit of a rocker feel through the forefoot. Yeah, this felt very smooth on entry and release. I really liked what this shoe was doing. So yes, I would say that's maybe slightly more cushion on that first entry, but this is smoother and it is slightly more responsive. So I would take that every day of the week with regards to that transition through to the forefoot. So the midsole execution and the function of the midsole is on point with version 2. Just touching on, obviously, the final aspects of the midsole, we have spoken earlier. It is a neutral shoe, so there's nothing on offer with regards to dynamic support systems on the medial side. It's designed for a higher arch to a mildly supinated foot type, which happens to put a bit more pressure on the lateral side of their running gait cycle. And talking about the gel cushioning, because there is an element of cushioning inside this shoe, it is twist gel, which sits right underneath the first metatarsal. It's not going to offer a lot of cushioning. It's more there to protect that big toe from excessive load on your longer runs, essentially. So it is strategically placed right under your big toe through that forefoot through there, which is great. And just to talk on the midsole and the upper, this rolls over to the upper. We're about to have the conversation on next. Asics have used, or the 70% of the midsole and upper combined is actually used with recycled materials, which I think is a really good call out by Asics. So we're all trying to do our little bit with our carbon, with reducing our carbon footprint. And if brands are sort of going back to the drawing board and using recycled materials, I tip my hat to you guys. So well done, Asics, for that. Let's get talking about the upper. So first thing I noticed when I put my foot inside this shoe was the extra support through the navicular region or the arch region through here. So I did like that when I put my foot in and I did my laces up to my preferred tension. I felt a little bit more secure, which is great. Coming through to the forefoot, I would say the fit and feel is pretty similar to the version 1 through here. So a little bit more secure through the midfoot versus the version 1, but the forefoot fits pretty similar, around about the same amount of wriggle room through there. So if you like the fit and feel of the upper in version 1, I'd be almost certain that you're going to like the fit and feel of version 2 as well. The main difference probably is the height of the heel counter or the actual heel collar. So to the naked eye, you can see if I hold them up next to each other through here, the version 1 has a slightly higher heel collar, so it comes up a little bit higher up your back of your Achilles through there. However, the actual internal heel counter support is the same. So the actual height of that plastic support system around the back is the same. So you're not losing support, you're just shaving a little bit of weight around that heel collar through there. And the lining around the inside's nice, a bit of memory foam, so it's padded enough to get that secure, comfortable fit, but by no means is it going to suffocate the back of your foot through there, which unfortunately some brands do over pad the back of that heel collar, which is, in my opinion, a little bit too much overkill. So about the right amount of foam through the back through here to get a nice secure but comfortable fit as well. A couple of other important pieces of information. This shoe here is only available in standard widths, both men's and women's. So standard width being a D men's and a B in the ladies through there. So who knows, in years to come, they might broaden that out and go for a D in the ladies and maybe throw in a 2E in the men's. But at this point in time, in 2021, it is a D men's only and a B in the ladies. There you have it, guys. That is my take on the Nimbus Lite version 2. So as we touched on, a lot of things that they rolled over with regards to the tech aspects of the version 1, ever so slightly changing the alteration of the outsole, midsole and the upper, but they've kept it consistent enough where they're not going to lose version 1 runners, and they may even get a few more runners into this shoe from other brands. I like what they've done. It is a premium, high mileage, plush running shoe for that neutral foot type sort of targeting more that midfoot runner, as I have touched on before. The Nimbus franchise, which is your 22s and 23s, that is targeting your true heel striker, where this is for that runner that sort of gets up more towards that midfoot region through here that lands just a fraction softer underneath the ground. So, if you have any questions, comments or queries with regards to this shoe here, the Nimbus Lite 2, please drop it in the comments field below. If you've got a pair, if you've tried on a pair and you want to let us know your thoughts, please do so. I'd love to hear what you guys fit and feel about running shoes out there. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the red button and hit the notifications, and we will keep you up to date as much as we possibly can with all things running shoes and running shoe content. And until next time, stay safe, happy running, and we'll see you out on the road. Take care.